that are on the end of the table. Thank you. If you want some, go get them. So what is an ASM? The ASM is in our union's constitution, so it stands for Annual Student Meeting or Student Meeting, and it's something that we have to do every year. It's also known as an Annual General Meeting in some charities and organisations. Basically, it's your union, and we work for you guys, so we want you to be able to know what's going on, be able to say your piece and vote on stuff. We also do paid affiliations during this time, so stuff like BUCs for sports and National Union of Students membership and stuff like that. So we want you to be able to have your input on this stuff, basically. Yeah, you're overseen by a board of trustees, of which I chair, and our lovely Sabbs also participate in. We've got a couple of trustees today, so thank you for coming, trustees. Yeah, so this is your chance to sort of find out what we've been doing, ask some questions if you fancy. So this is our agenda for the day. Can everyone hear me okay? Just checking. Yeah, stunning. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go through and approve the minutes of the previous all-student meeting. You're going to receive a report from the trustee board, thank you, and have a presentation of the 23-24 accounts, the budget stuff of the union. We're going to approve the list of affiliations of our union, and we're going to have an opportunity for you to ask any questions to our lovely panellists. Thank you. So this is just a bit of housekeeping. We'll do voting and stuff by Mentimeter, so if you've got your phones handy, it'd be really useful if you can, if you're able to scan and do the codes and stuff for the mentees. That'd be really useful. You can choose to approve or not approve or abstain from each vote. And you can find the minutes of the ASM and a copy of the annual reports and accounts on the event page, as I said. You can also ask questions by raising your hand in the room, but if you're online, you can use the Q&A function. So, let's potentially approve the minutes from the previous all-student meeting that was on 28th of February 2024. Please refer to the SU website again if you'd like to have a look. Does anybody have any questions about the previous minutes? No? Okay, thank you. So we'll be using Mentimeter to approve these minutes. Please go to menti.com and use the code 23550218. I'll just give everybody a second to log on to that one. Okay. How are we doing? Are we doing well logging in? Yeah? If you can give me a thumbs up when you're logged in, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. So we'll go through, and the question that should be on your screens is, should we approve the minutes of the all-student meeting 2024? Yeah? Yes, so far, thank you. We'll just give it another minute and then we'll move on. Yeah? How many yeses so far?
6 yeses.
6 yeses.
1 abstain.
That's fair.
2 abstain.
Again, if you have any other questions about the minutes from the last meeting, please do put your hand up. We're happy to help. We're happy to talk through anything that you might have a question about. Okay. I'd say it looks like majority approval. No one said no. So thank you guys so much. Okay, we'll move on to that one. Move on from that one if that's okay. Thank you very much. And again, as always, if you have any questions about it, we're always here, so let us know. On to the report from the Board of Trustees from 2024 to 2025. That is this current Board of Trustees. So this is us. Look at our lovely, beautiful faces. Obviously, all of the Sabbs are there. We've got 4 time to sort of help us run the union. Shout out. And we've got 4 external trustees who help us with like sort of specific like expertise sort of bits and bobs. A lot of finance because I'm not very good at that. Okay. So the purpose of our board is to sort of oversee the governance of the union, so how we're run, like policies, bylaws, constitution, bits and bobs like that. You can see it all on the website. It is a lot of long, wordy sort of bits and bobs, but it is really interesting if you're a nerd for this stuff like I am. We also go over like the budget of the Students' Union and sort of what we spend money on, how we spend that money, and like how it should be delegated. And then we also go over like the strategy of the Students' Union and how we're going to operate. We've got a current strategy in place which we're looking to refresh soon. So it's all looking quite exciting, I'd say. Again, if you ever have any questions, let me know. Raise your hand. Do whatever you want to do. So this is the work of the board over the past 12 months. There's a lot of really exciting stuff. We've reviewed our risk register, we've gone over the risks to the union and stuff, and looked at the risks, basically. We began to work with BSU to review facilities across campus. So you might have noticed that we moved the SU shop, which is now our studio space that clubs and societies and BSU itself uses for different events and stuff. We also wanted to sort of retain a point of sale for sandwiches and grab-and-go food options because it is quite convenient for people to have food up here. So we do have our like little sandwiches, chocolate bars and stuff selections. We also commissioned work with Counterculture, which is an organisation that sort of reviews democratic representative functions of organisations. So that's been a really interesting one, looking at how the elected officer roles could work in the future, looking at how the student community leaders have been affected, like the way that the union and the university run in a positive way, because they are paid roles, so it means that you can afford to do more, and it's been really, really effective for student representation. So that's a big win, and it's something that we want to look into and sort of elaborate on through counterculture reviews. And that one's just a really exciting one for the SU nerd in me. We've also approved a commitment to advocate for demilitarised investments at BSU and within the SU. That one's an ongoing one, but if anybody has any questions about that one, I'm quite passionate about it, so do let me know. We approved a new diverse gender policy to ensure all staff feel supported and empowered in the workplace, which is also really lovely. Approved a pilot gender expression fund, which was my baby project, to support trans, non-binary and gender diverse students with stuff like gender-affirming care, products and services. And lastly but not leastly, and there's so much more that we could have put on here, but these are just some highlights. We ensured that we delivered on our strategic ambitions and started to undertake research for our next SU plan with the strategy stuff that I was talking about earlier. So, do you have any questions of the work of the Board of Trustees over the past year? You can raise your hand, or you can go to menti.com from the one that we would have had previously. Everybody's still got the code. If you want the code again, pop up your hand, and I'll give it out again. I'll give a minute for people to have a think. If you have any questions, or pop them on Menti. Thank you. It's good to see the ice cream queue. It's a vibe, it's a mood. I get it. I hope there's some left by the time I finish hosting. Do you have any questions on Menti so far? Okay. Sorry? Yeah, if you could, or I could rewind. 2355 0218. I feel like I'm on a shopping channel. That's 2355 0218. Okay, no questions in the room of the Board of Trustees? Oh yes, Rowan, absolutely.
So
So you wanted to ask what stage the demilitarisation policies and stuff are at? That's a really good question, absolutely. I'm very happy to answer it. So last year I looked a lot into the charity Demilitarise Education, and they're like an independent charity run by like ex-students who looked at their institutions and looked into the finance. That was like it's a public thing, like university finances and investments. So they like gathered them all in like a database, and it was really, really useful to see in how different institutions, big ones being like Oxford, Cambridge vibes, invest a lot in military industrial complex organisations or like arms trade, defence like stuff. Which sometimes people do disagree with as students at an institution, like thinking that education shouldn't be a place where like military investments happen, basically. So this is a place for education, it's a place for peace, it's all those bits and bobs. If you want to find out more about all of that stuff, you can go to Demilitarise Education, DED, but if you Google them, you'll find them. And so I passed a policy, I passed like a thing that we were pursuing demilitarisation as an organisation. And as a students' union, we don't have any investments in military stuff because we don't need to. And we sort of did that off the backs of some students who were really looking into like the investments of the university. So my next step is to talk to the Chief Financial Officer at the university about the investments that they've made. I believe that they've already divested from some, but I need to do more work with the students who came to me first about the demilitarisation stuff to sort of see what more we can do before my term ends in July. So if anybody wants to work with me on that or reach out or like chat to me about it more, you're more than welcome to. Thank you, Rowan, that's a really good question. Okay. Does anybody have any more questions? If you don't, I will move on. Okay, sweet. As always, reach out to me. You can. So, Sabb updates. That's me and these guys. And we went through loads of pictures, so we picked out all of our favourite pictures of ourselves and you guys. So these are the bits and bobs that I'm really proud of this year, and then I will stop talking and I will pass over to my lovely colleagues and they will help. Help me know what's going on, basically. So, I spearheaded the creation and launch of the Gender Expression Fund, which was one of my favourite and one of my proudest achievements. Continued the campaign on the U5. It's not very good. Lots of students think it's not very good, so I've been holding consultations. I've been talking with everybody I can get, a leg in with on if they have like any kind of power that they can help us sort of like fight for better bus service. The National Union of Students President, the WECA Mayor and our MP for North East Somerset and Hanham, Dan Norris, and I've been gathering signatures for better bus service for the U5. So if you haven't already, please go and sign the open letter that we have, because if you want better bus service, it would be really, really useful to have as many names on that as possible. If you go to the SU website, it'll be there. But anyway, plug. I've also made sure to be visible, obviously, to everybody. I've done lots of national work as well, with loads of Sabbs across the country and organisations across the country. And also participated in the interview process for the new VC, who is doing a really good job. I've done loads of other stuff, but those are the ones that I wanted to talk about the most. Again, at the end we'll take time for questions, but I will pass over now to Aaron. Yeah?
Yeah, we should go around the reach out. So that fast.
Bear with.
Hello. I'm going to read off my phone because I have no mood. So, just going to check it. This year I have represented your voice at various committees at the university where I have presented the impact of the cost of living crisis on student engagement. I have advocated for improved student consultation. Louder. Okay, is that loud enough? Thank you. advocated for improved student consultation in the decisions that directly involve the student experience, and for more effective management of the complaints and appeals processes. I've consulted on the revision of student-facing policies, such as the content warning policy and attendance and engagement policy. I'm currently in the process of writing policy with the university that presents the role and responsibilities of supervisor roles. That way you have a document that you can hold your supervisor accountable to if they're not meeting your expectations. I also have improved their access by introducing infographic versions as well on the website. I've led the new SCLs throughout the year in facilitating academic communities by hosting events and ensuring your schools are listening to you when you have something to say. I reintroduced postgraduate representation into relevant committees. I have hosted focus groups to review the student experience of academic access plans, and I've made proposals for more proactive support for student challenges. And finally I've hosted and attended events for specific student groups, such as our Rep Winter Social, where we took our active reps to Bath on Ice, and the Mature Student Network, which I was a part of during my studies, but also some of the regular events like our Paint and Sit and our Welcome Week. Any questions?
I think we'll take them to you.
Okay, sorry about that.
Hello everyone. Okay, so I supported the SU elections by promoting student engagement and ensuring that everyone had as good a time as they could, and that we had a good transition for my successor. And I'm looking over to the handover period for my role. Chaired the Semester 2 Activity Fund panel, allowing committee members to provide input on funding applications and awarding grants to help societies grow. And I also, just this week, hosted the sports kit tender interviews alongside club and society presidents to ensure student groups had direct input in selecting the best supplier, who we have now successfully selected. Me and the Sabbs, we met with the MP Dan Norris alongside students and staff to discuss key concerns. And me and Jazz attended the NUS Regional Campaign Day recently, where we worked with other Sabbs from the Southwest to strengthen our representation, and we did some joint comms on petitions, and it was a really good day. And of course I oversaw and attended all the Welcome Week events and Welcome Back Week, engaging with the students there and supported the Give It a Go sessions from our clubs and societies, and I really tried to make that a bigger thing this year and help them to do so. I helped facilitate MiniCon, bringing societies together. That was on an offer holder day, so hopefully that showcased ourselves to prospective students really well. I think it did. And co-hosted the Shout Week Bingo, which was really highly attended. There were some really good things.
Oh, lovely, perfect. Sorry, I was waiting for the slide to change. Thank you, Jazz. Hello, everyone. So I've done lots of bits and bobs this year, but these are just some of the highlights. So this year I've worked really, really closely with the accommodation team. Got a really, really good rapport there, which is nice. With the Student Community Partnership, which is an external organisation that works with Bath University, Bath SU, Bath University, Bath SU, and then Northern College, Bath College. And all of those lovely people to kind of discuss issues within the local community, so things like housing, river safety, personal safety, things like that. So I work really closely with them and local councillors to address housing issues in Bath, and I've made sure to advocate for students and share student experiences, because let's face it, all of the housing is absolutely rubbish in Bath. So yeah, that's been something that I've been doing. Also, I've been working really, really closely with the student wellbeing accommodation. Student wellbeing services this year. So for those who don't know, currently the university are hoping to get an accreditation called the Mental Health Charter, and the Mental Health Charter is an accreditation from student minds, I believe. Yes, okay, good, I was right. student minds to say that the university does everything they can to ensure that student wellbeing is at the absolute priority of everything they do. So I was the student lead on that, working with Sarah Gallagher, who is head of student wellbeing. So I facilitated the assessment days where they came in and they did loads of focus groups with loads of different people across the university, across the student union. So that was really, really good. So just continue on with that, and I'll be continuing on with that until that's all over with. Yeah, sorry, I waffled that. I've also tried to increase visibility, so by attending SU events, university external events as well. I think it's really important that I show my face at those external events where students might not always be present. I've also participated in SU comms where possible, and I've hosted various stands, the drugs and alcohol stand, the 16 days of GBB back before Christmas, things like that, as well as open days and lots of things. And then also celebrated and recognised diversity by helping to plan, attend and promote numerous network and face-to-face cultural events. So some examples from Diwali, I really enjoyed that this year. I worked really closely with my colleague Chris on that. I also helped with the planning of the New Year. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go this year, but the other lovely Sabbs, yeah, did that for me. But yes, I'll stop now. Yeah.
Thank you. So if anybody wasn't aware, these are our elected officers and myself. I'm the President, Aaron is Vice President of Education, Lisa's Vice President of Opportunities, and Poppy is Vice President of Welfare and Community. And we sort of represent you at a local and national level. So those are the bits and bobs we've been up to. Do you have any questions or comments about the work of the Sabbatical officers this year? You can raise your hand, as we've done in the past, or you can go onto Menti and submit your feedback or questions, if you have any. Again, please let me know if you need the Menti code. Oh, thanks. Thank you, whoever that was. Go for it, Rowan.
I'm just curious about how the concept of the policy on black evolved. If like you're going to have next kind of around that, and like the content warning policy, like the black
Okay, so this question's about the content warning policy and how that sort of works and what's been done on it so far this year. Do you want to take that one, Aaron?
Yeah. Oh, for that.
Yeah, so Poppy and I worked on that one quite closely actually, so she's probably a bit better at describing it than I am. But we revised it, so we've introduced new criteria to it and how it applies in classrooms, and it is being enforced by, they are writing specific guidance for lecturers and academics and how it applies to what content, and then we've also introduced that it should be delivered to guest lecturers as well, not just for the regulars. Anything you want to add to that, Poppy? No? Oh yeah, we also, we've argued and we've actually had it included that we should receive 24 hours of notice of any content warning in advance. And then we've also advocated for, it was included, that you have the right to leave the room at any point, and that if you do leave the room, the lecturer should follow up and chase up with you about how that may have impacted you at signpost due to the relevant student services and so on. Hope that answers the question. Cool.
Thank you so much, that's a really good question. Do we have any more for any more? Any more in Menti? The emotional support dinos. Apologies, that was an April Fool. You got fooled. But yeah, if you really, really want them back, they might make a return at some point in the near future. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, we'll take that. Okay. So we've had a question on the university's work on racial visibility. Okay. Okay, so that one was about the Board of Trustees, about racial visibility. I'm not entirely sure I understand the question. I apologise. Well, we have a decolonisation toolkit that's available on the website that talks about decolonisation in the curriculum, the community and the classroom. That was written by our Vice President of Education in 2021, Jasmine Smale. She did amazing work there. Do we want to pass this one along so people can contribute in the ways that they want to?
I'm not 100% sure we completely understand the question because it's asking a question about the university as opposed to the union, but there are a number of ways in which we work to enhance kind of equity and diversity and inclusion across the university and the union alike. And some of that is in the events that the Sabbatical team lead, but the university itself does have an equality and diversity steering group that's chaired by the university secretary, which is the highest legal brain in the university, that the Sabbatical officers sit in alongside senior staff, and that kind of governs the whole of the university's approach to anything that's to do with kind of equality and diversity. So if that answers the question, is that do we kind of work with the university and try and hold the university to account on those kind of matters, then that's how that's done, and that's the forum in which that's done. The other addition, perhaps, to that is that any university or higher education institute that is registered with the Office of Students has to publish what's known as an access and participation plan, by which they say these are the things that matter to students, and these are students that might find it more difficult to progress on an equitable basis to all of the students. And these are the measures that the university is going to put in place. So things like bursaries, the Empowers programme, all of these other different things, extra support for carers, to be guarantors, those kind of things that the university does. And it has to publish those as an access and participation plan. It has to be approved by the Office of Students as a condition of registration, and myself and other staff and sabbatical officers sit on the meeting groups and approve those. And we also have to submit a student-led submission alongside the university's access and participation plan. So the university can't say, we do A, B and C. We have to publish something independent to the university, to the Office of Students, that says, actually, that's truthful. So there are quite a lot of checks and balances that go in there. There we go. Ta-da!
Thank you so much for that answer. That is really, really good to have out there. But I do think that we could be more visible in the work that we do with like equality, diversity and inclusion, EDI initiatives, like surrounding decolonisation, surrounding racial equity, as was said in the question. But we do use that toolkit quite a lot that was written by a previous SAB to sort of like govern how we work on these sorts of initiatives. So I hope that that is a helpful sort of insight into how the Board of Trustees works in that way. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll move us along. We have another question? Amazing! Oh, thanks guys. Okay.
So this is still on Board of Trustees.
Okay, so we've got another Board of Trustees question.
First one is, what practical steps have been taken to strengthen well-being?
That's a really good question. Wellbeing services within the Students' Union, I would presume, but also we can view it from the university perspective. If you have an input, I would give that to the VP for Welfare and Community, if you're happy to answer.
Okay, so I'll start with the union first, and then I'll go on to the university. So we have our advice centre at Students' Union. At the moment, we are suppose reviewing how utilised it is, whether we maybe need to expand the that's just like in the future stuff. But yes, we have our advice centre. In terms of the university, so like I said earlier, we're currently, or the university are looking at getting the University Mental Health Charter, University Mental Health Charter accreditation. So a lot of, so we will be receiving an outcome report from them to evaluate what they've done to improve wellbeing. I think, just off the top of my head, and not having done much research before this, sorry. I think within recent years, and ever since before I was a student anyway, so they've introduced the 24/7 wellbeing hotline for students that students can use day or night whenever they need it. I know that SWS have a lot of work regarding we've got mental health advisors, disability advisors. I think recently the disability advisors have been, so that we've got 7 schools? That's right, yeah, 7 schools, and disability advisors have been allocated to each school to make it a bit more personal, a bit more focused in their work. So I think that's something that's going to really help.
Yeah, so we've worked closely with those academic advisors and supported them, consulted them on how to support students in particular ways and how to access those student groups. We've also, as I mentioned, that we've reviewed the AAP program, so that's also a way of strengthening that. That should be a more proactive approach to supporting students with challenges within their academics, but it also addresses industry-specific challenges that they're going to face when moving from university onto career. I think that's about everything for student services. No worries.
Thank you. I think I'd lastly like to mention, obviously, our advice centre that is based at the Students' Union. You can talk to us about academic appeals, you can talk to us about housing, and any kind of sexual health or well-being sort of concerns that you have. You can just chat to us, and we can either chat to you back, or we can signpost you to a more relevant service. So definitely always reach out if you need us. Thank you. We'll go to the questions there, and we'll go to you if that's okay.
Next question is, what steps are being taken to improve the housing situation?
Dan's questions. So we're talking about housing and what steps are being taken to improve the housing situation. I will take that to Poppy, and then I will chime in with my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I know it's such a big issue for students, and I really empathise with anyone that's going through the horrific issues that is our landlords. Don't know if I was allowed to say that, sorry. Keep it real. So since coming into this role, I've learned a lot about how housing works. So obviously a lot of the issues that students are facing are a result of their landlords not keeping their houses to a good enough standard. So, for example, in my work with the SCP, I've learned that there is one landlord that has 25 student properties, and that landlord keeps those student properties because he can charge whatever he wants, because students will take it because it's a tricky market. But in terms of steps that have been made, so the year before I joined, it was my predecessor Laura Bold and Hannah from Bath SU, who was the SU community officer, so the equivalent of my role. So the 2 SUs, Bath SU and Bath Bar SU, joined up to do a housing survey. So they got a lot of data from that, tangible data to see what are the main issues that students facing. And all of the work that we've been doing has been feeding based upon that. The SCP offer a lot of housing advice, and I think that's something that's probably not shouted out enough about. They can help with landlord and tenant issues, as well as if there's mould or inaccessible what's it, doors or something, I don't know. Yeah, things like that. So I think for me next year, that's something that I really want to focus on. I really want to push the SEP a lot more because they have so many resources available for students that I just don't think students are aware of. And I find that a lot of the issues, this was talking with some of the counsellors a couple of weeks ago, I find a lot of students don't tend to report issues because a lot of students are like, I'll just deal with it, it's only a year, which is so real because obviously you've got a job, you've got like lectures to go to. But the issue is if students aren't reporting those issues, then the council can't do anything because it has to come from the student independent, like themselves and not other people. I hope that kind of answers the question. I feel like I was a bit waffly, but anyway, yeah, sorry.
No, I think that was great. I just wanted to add to that. We have the student rep forum, which Poppy is kind of advocating for, so there is an opportunity for students to now actually liaise with councillors and we've also, at that same meeting, we advocated for them to actually introduce mitigating like resources that would actually inform students on what it is that landlords may be getting away with that they might not know about, such as regulations on the size of their room, the size of their kitchen, and how many people are allowed in that building, which they don't seem to be aware that the landlord might actually be breaching realising it.
Thank you. It was a really good question as well. Just to finally add, last year we did speak at council about the housing situation, and so it has been raised to councillors like so many times at this point, and it garnered like media coverage and stuff, so that might put extra social pressure onto the council and those surrounding like landlords and stuff to improve the housing situation, price and quality. But we hope to take it to them again at some point for an update. So I hope that helps answer the questions. We did also speak to our MPs about it, for sure. Thank you, Elise. Absolutely. You just chat to everybody who will listen about how dire it is, because it's not really a laughing matter, to be fair. But yeah, thank you. I hope that helps. Could we have the next question, please?
How have you been working to increase engagement across the university?
Okay. Engagement across the university. Do we mean like engagement from students with the university or engagement from the union with the university? Absolutely. I think I'd pass that one to you, Elise, if that's okay. Thank you.
Hello, yeah, so obviously that's a wide net and a big issue. So if you have any further questions, like happy to delve into specifics a bit more. But some of the things that we have done this year, that work that we continued on from last year, is obviously talking about clubs and societies is just one example. We work with the university to make clubs and societies free, which has really upped engagements. We have the stats to prove that all across the board that's been really good, and that has had a specific impact on the pipeline from engaged students into other areas. So, for example, in elections, with our Democracy and Scrutiny Committee. So it's been a real gateway into engagement because it's a big area of engagement in itself, but also leads on to other types of engagement. And there's also so much research that shows that students who engage with clubs and societies are also more likely to attend their lectures and to stay and to not drop out of university. So that's one area where we've worked with the university to make a huge impact, and hopefully that feeds into loads of other areas as well. We've also been working with staff from the university to think about Newton Park and Locksbrook and our other campuses as like the idea of sticky campuses, so places that you want to come, the access there, a lot of that is in the access and participation as well. So the food that's available on campus, the prices, the warm spaces, making the most of campus when you're here outside of your lectures and outside of other activities. For the last few years now, all of our events in Welcome and Welcome Back Week, well, I'd say 95% of them have been free, which is really amazing, and hopefully that has really upped engagement as well. And again, we have the stats to show that that's been really successful, and especially in Welcome Week, because that's where we first can grab students' attention, that follows through into engaging with us as an SU and the university as a whole in other ways. details yet.
Yeah. So in regards to academic communities and student engagement with that, we rolled out a new role within the representation system for student community leaders who are it's a paid role for essentially a rep. We're removing that barrier of having time and the lack of money and so on, so that actually they can engage within the university and actually deliver the voice of students, which students can't do at the moment because they don't have time for it and they can't afford it. So that's actually been going really well. They also have a budget which actually is used to host events or hold initiatives to support students in facilitating that community. I think what else we've done. Oh, we introduced the winter rep social, which was quite entertaining. We're going to see what we can do this summer as well, which will help reps kind of engage more with each other and also be a part of that student community.
Spurred a thought in my head about just some of the other examples that we have of like student employment here at the union. So we introduced our welcome crew and our events crew. So those are paid students who come along to our events, which is really good for the students attending the events because they have a touch point, they have students to interact with and relate to and help those events run more smoothly. It's also really good for the students employed because, again, it just relieves some of those pressures around university. It means that they can engage with university in general if you have a job that is here on campus with flexible hours. That's something we try to do. Obviously, we do it in our gym, we do it with our bar. We're really proud to be a living wage employer, and we work with the university to ensure that they maintain those high standards of student employability as well, which genuinely helps engagement across in your studies as well, because you don't have to work a job miles away that maybe doesn't have flexible hours and doesn't respect you as a student.
Thank you. And to finish off, we do work pretty closely with the university on engagement bits and bobs. We can still hold them to account, but we do have good links with them, so we can sort of work really closely and speak honestly to them about what's going on. I think that's all I'd say. There's probably a lot more that we could say, but we don't want to make it too long. Do we have any other questions in the room? One more question? Okay.
The question is, you spoke about student consultation being reintroduced. What was happening before?
Yeah, was that on something you were talking about?
My slide, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said that I had reintroduced student consultation in certain elements of the university. That actually refers to a few different areas. So one would be the curriculum approval panel. The idea is that any amendments that get done gets fed through the module evaluation, gets delivered to SSLCs, and then that goes through to SQMC, so that's a Student Staff Liaison Committee, and then the School Policy Management Committee, where students are able to hold the school not accountable. They can assure that the school is actually acting in their favour, and then it goes on to curriculum approval. And my way of introducing student consultation in that is by giving SELs and the reps the knowledge around what is actually involved in those meetings, rather than sticking the student in that meeting and expecting them to know what's going on without actually having prior knowledge, which is what has been happening. And then on top of that, I've also introduced more student representation than just myself, which is what has been passed, such as the postgraduate senior academic reps into certain committees as well. On top of that, we also advocated for students, we introduced a monetary incentive to include students on university projects that they want to go ahead with. I think previously they would find any student that would be interested and actually offer something a voucher if they got the chance, but it was quite low engagement to kind of feed into anything that they have, or they would use student staff such as the ambassadors to kind of gather that information and not actually consult the wider student body. Now we are essentially paying students some form of allowance that would encourage them to participate in certain activities, but we have spoken with all the university departments and said that if you want student consultation, you need to go through the student union so that we can actually get you the students that you need for the projects that you want to do. So an example of this would be the sensory mapping that we've just done, or we're still doing. We've got neurodivergent students that are taking part and going around the campus and making note of the different sensory elements of different rooms around campus, and that should help any further neurodivergent students coming in be aware of what they should be looking out for in different areas of the campus. There's lots of things that we've had student consultation on. I don't know if anyone's given another example. Yeah.
Didn't get a pass over to me instead. So myself and Aaron, are you okay on that? Thank you. I've been working on inclusive guidance with SWS, just to ensure that, sorry, I say that students are making, that the most is being made out of their AAPs. So Aaron and myself have worked with Joel from, not accommodation, from SWS, so we planned some focus groups. So I put all the questions and things together, and then one of our lovely coordinators, Zoe, she reached out via comms, Kieran, to have students sign up to these focus groups that we hosted, that Aaron hosted, to kind of get more of an insight into what their AAPs look like now, what could be better, what would they want to see in the future. So it's stuff like that that's really important to get, obviously I mean everything to get student consultation on, but that was really beneficial, and then that's going to really inform the work that we continue on to do.
I thought of another one as well, which was the timetabling system I wanted to add to it, which affects everyone. The timetabling is pretty much rubbish around university, and they are introducing something new. But to get student consultation on that, I regularly kind of consulted with the Mature Student Network, who typically are commuters as well and have parents, so they would have the least amount of time. It's good for them to have that input.
Iconic, thank you. We do so much student consultation. Just keep an eye on the socials if you want to be involved in bits and bobs that we do. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. Thank you. 2 more? Oh my gosh, okay, can we speed through them? I don't know how we're doing for time. Yeah, we'll speed round it. Yes, absolutely.
First one, basically, for you, Janice, has any notable progress been made with the buses?
Oh, so true. Has any notable progress been made with the buses? There's a lot that I could say. To save time, I wrote an article and published it on the Students' Union website, which has basically all of the work that I've done over the last couple of years on the buses and the U5 service. But in a short answer here, I've written that open letter joint with the National Union of Students President, Amira. She's adding her voice, which is a national voice, to our local issue, because it is pretty bad as unis go. So we really want to get it sorted, and she, on a national level, wants to help us get it sorted. So if you sign our letter, you're adding your voice to that national movement, and it's going to be really, really helpful to move that to the West of England Combined Authority Mayor, Dan Norris, or his successor, because the elections are happening soon for the Combined Authority Mayor, to hopefully add social pressure, and for them to see, and First Bus to see, that it's really, really affecting us, and it has been since like 2009 or before. I've spoken to a lot of alumni, and the buses have been pretty not great since at least then. So we are getting there, or we are trying to. We're doing as much as we can as like a collective. And hopefully it will get somewhere by the time I leave in July, but my successor Joe will be carrying on the work in my place. So we won't stop fighting on it. I'm writing a report to Dan to attach to this letter to tell him what's going on, tell him what we want to do about it. So that's what's happening, and I hope that that answers the question. I will be publishing that report and the open letter, obviously, on the website, so keep an eye out if you want to be bored reading about buses. Thank you. Last question.
So this person says that they study literature and use of racial language has improved. However, I've still noticed an issue with language around queer communities. Is there awareness of this?
That's really interesting. Okay. So this student studies literature, and they've noticed that the use of racial language in lectures and seminars has improved, but it could still improve on the LGBTQIA+ community and the language used surrounding that area. I'll pass that on to somebody else, but first I just wanted to talk about last year, myself and the Vice President Education, Nidu, at the time, we both attended this sort of racial language workshop with the literature department, and it was really, really useful and interesting to talk to them about how students see racial language in text and stuff, and how that should be sort of gone about, which was really, really interesting. All the staff were very receptive to what we had to say. Nidu primarily, I was there for support, so they do speak to us and we give them your feedback, and I'm glad that it's looking better now. That's really, really, really good to hear. But I'll pass on to you guys now if anybody has anything to add.
Yes, I would say there is awareness of it. There is work being done to address it. I can't say too much about it because there are reasons. But I would like to say that us, the SU and the university are moving towards introducing good practice in regards to addressing certain communities within the university and education.
Thank you. If anybody has a case of this that they want to talk to us about that we can bring to the academics, please do let us know, because it's something that we can definitely do work on for sure. So yeah, let us know. Email Aaron. Thank you. Okay, I think we will move on if that's okay. But if you have any other questions, you know where we are. Our emails are on the website. You can always ask us any questions that you have on representation or any of our job remits. Thank you so much for all the questions. That was really, really good. So we'll move on to our strategic plan now. So these are our sort of strategic priorities from a charity perspective as a students' union. We are a general union, not a workers' union or anything, so these are our sort of priorities on how to support students, basically. Our members, you guys are all our members. You're always enrolled as a member of the students' union when you start at this university, and you can unenroll if you want to, but you will automatically be included in all of our stuff, if we don't hear otherwise. So our first priority is to build community and a sense of belonging with you guys. I'm so blind. But we've done a lot of bits and bobs on this, like feeling part of a learning community at Sabbatical, and we're quite far along in it, to be fair. I don't have the slides in front of me, and I'm too blind to read this small writing. Could somebody please... There are later slides that show progress. So, cliffhanger. So our second priority is supporting students to thrive, which is, it's just what it says, really. You're feeling well, you're feeling good about your university experience and your extracurriculars and everything to do with your experience at Sabbatical, basically. Your well-being is really essential to academic services and your experience. And then our last one is removing the barriers to participation. So everyone has a chance to participate financially, socially, emotionally, physically. We just want all of you guys to be at whatever you want to be at, and for there to be no barrier to that. So we'll go on to the progress. It's not just about what we do, but how we will do it. We'll always be values-led. So these three values were our primary sort of steering agenda for anything or everything that we do at the union. Students will always be at the heart of everything that we do. Here we are, there's 4 of us on this stage, and our chief executive. Thank you, Sarah. We value diversity, actively listen, and support underrepresented groups. which I hope that you guys see in every day. We are creative, fun, and responsive to the changing needs of students. These are all bits and bobs that you can view on the website. We take trust, sustainability, and democratic accountability into the very heart of how we work with our democracy and scrutiny committee, which is students who hold the sabbatical officers and the work of the union to account for how effective it is, basically, and at the board of trustees and in our everyday work. We also take pride in delivering our really high quality services, like our SU Advice Centre and our clubs and societies and how they're run. Mostly by you guys, but we can help out. And we really want you guys to have value for money. As Lise was saying earlier, with a lot of the free initiatives that we've introduced as a result of cost of living, I hope that you guys can all sort of participate in the bits and bobs that you want to now. Our commitment is more than just words, as it says. I know it's cheesy, but it is true about us. We try to be as sustainable as possible. We take that into our policies. We don't order from Amazon, for example. We order from smaller, more ethical, sustainable sort of sources and stuff. We know every small action can make a difference. So we've got our vape recycling. So if you have a disposable vape, you can recycle it here, that sort of thing. And we had a hand in putting those in. We want you to be financially stable. We want to be financially stable. As we emerge from the impact of the pandemic, we want to ensure our business planning has a strong framework for the future, and I feel that we have and are doing that. You can read a lot of little papers on the website about any of these bits and bobs, or we will go into our budget later as well. We're also implementing our people and culture strategy on inclusion, supporting our staff and volunteers to just be brilliant. And we also do this little qualification called Leaders in Diversity. Equality and diversity are genuinely at the very heart of what we do at all times. We recognise putting equalities at the heart of our business isn't just the right thing to do, it's a fundamental part of what we need to be, if that makes sense. Good intentions aren't really enough. We want to make it a practical change and something you can see. And we do a lot of work with the National Centre for Diversity to achieve this accreditation, the Leaders in Diversity accreditation that we do have right now. And you can look into that more on the websites again. I don't want to give you all the details now and overwhelm you, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff in there. And if you're interested in equalities, then it's definitely something you should check out. So what have we delivered so far? The cliffhanger is over. So building a sense of community and belonging, our student community leader system is just doing fantastic. Anybody in the room who is a community leader, you're doing brilliantly. So proud of all of you. Very well done. We're also invested in events, societies, clubs, activities. We support you guys to be able to make your connections and make your networks so that you can take them away after you're done here. We also are removing the barriers to participation, as I was saying earlier. All of the free bits and bobs that we have, clubs and societies, our participation fund for societies and clubs, about like if you need kit and you can't afford it, you can apply for the participation fund and you can get it, basically. Is that right? Yeah. Sweet, nice. I know what I'm talking about. We have improved insight of our our student body with the introduction of the annual Big SU survey, which is just so useful. All of that information, if you filled it out, thank you so much. It's just so useful for us to know what you want and what you need. We've also invested in expanding our comms team, so now we have a lot of students that work in our social media sort of communications team, and it's really nice to have all of that expertise. We have this guy who's a web developer and he's really awesome, and a lot of other people who I work with. But it's just really nice to have. And all of you guys are so creative, it's so lovely in this community. God, I could ramble about this community. We've advocated for and advised on plans to improve campuses and facilities. For example, the university shop. We had a lot of input on that one, and it was really, really interesting to see how they would do it compared to how we would do it. We also support Students to Thrive, which is our last charitable objective. We have regular annual calendars of campaigns and key events for a lot of our networks, our communities, and just in general, we have yeah, we have them all on our calendar basically, so we can remember when like Trans Day of Visibility is, which was the other day. Our key role in projects, we always have this with the university and within the union, and in external things like the Student Community Partnership, for things like the Mental Health Charter, Reset, the Access and Participation Plan Sarah was talking about, and like safeguarding reviews and stuff, so many bits and bobs. For sustainability, we earned the Green Impact Gold Award last year, which was really exciting. Put a lot of work into that with our like sustainability objectives and all of the bits and bobs we do there. Again, a lot you can read on the website if you want to. We improved menu labelling, so we've got some like traffic lights and stuff on the menu to show like how sustainable it is for you to buy it. That's right. Stunning, thank you, Dad. And we've also got loads of projects which are like student run, but also like, oh, it's just so nice to see. We've got our gardening, hedgehog society, campus initiatives for like bulb planting that we do in Welcome Week, and we've campaigned for better public transport. Yay! Yeah, I'm doing that. Financially stable. So we have this memorandum of understanding with the university establishing a basis for how much block grant we receive from the university to help fund our projects and fund things like the student community leaders and the participation fund. So that's a really, really useful one. We stabilised our reserves, which is a big well done to the trustees and the senior management team. Thank you. We revised and are further revising our financial systems. Shout out to Gail for doing a lot of hard work on that. Thank you so much. We also have like clean audit reports from 2023 and 2024. Is that everything that I've read out? And we've also done a lot on policy and treasury management. Lastly, for leaders in diversity, again, we retained that accreditation. We're the NCD Top 100 Workplaces for Diversity for the 10th consecutive year, which makes me so happy. It's so nice to be in a workplace that's this like inclusive and supportive. We have an accessibility checklist, which we complete for every single event that we do now. So accessibility for like physical, mental stuff, for neurodiversity, for disabilities, for any bits and bobs, even for like noise levels and lighting. We always complete this checklist every single event that we do, where there would have been one for this. And that was written by Elise and one of our students and passed through the Board of Trustees last year. So that was really, really useful and so nice to see. We're disability confident and we're committed to this. We've retained our mindful employer charter, and we've started working with Lexic, which is like a sort of neurodiverse charity/organisation who are sort of advising us on how to best help and support our neurodiverse colleagues and students, which is just wonderful, and you love to see it. And lastly, we have a values-led recruitment process, so we'll always be as inclusive as possible during our recruitment of employees. Yeah, there we go. So here we are at the annual report and accounts, which I'm going to gracefully pass on to Sarah Dawes, our Chief Executive, who knows more about it than what I know about it, but she knows about it very confidently in a way that I don't.
Thank you. No pressure.
The disappointment.
Thank you very much. I'll whiz through these. You have got access to the full accounts from last year, and you've also got summary sheets around, and we're quite happy to answer questions, and if they're really, really complicated, then Gail can take them as head of finance. So what I've done is tried to summarise the information in front of you in a series of graphs and slides, because I think that's a little, unless you're an accountancy nerd, of which we love them, but unless you're an accountancy nerd, they can be quite confusing figures. So there are some key messages we wanted to share. Firstly is there are two graphs on this slide which are around income, so you can see where our income comes from and where it was and how that has changed over the last 3 or 4 years. So you will see the grant funding that we get from the university has doubled, which has enabled a lot of the work we've been discussing tonight to take place. Income from other sources has been a little bit more challenging, and that will be from kind of trading, so kind of profits from trading that we do, and additional pieces of grant. You'll see the pale blue figure at the end I will come back to, because that's what we've budgeted for. But for a business that is built on students being able to spend at a time when you are not just large amounts of our student population aren't just poor but are in absolute destitution, then that is proving challenging for us. So we're going to have to make some quite interesting decisions, but I'll come back to that. So the next slide kind of looks at that in a little bit more detail. So you'll see that if I go from right to left, because that's a little bit of an easier story, is that money that we have from marketing and advertising, merchandise sales, that largely doesn't come from students. That is things like welcome fairs. When exhibitors come onto campus, they pay us the privilege for doing that and to then give you freebies. So that income has increased over years. Our gym income has kind of gone down a little bit, but it's still returning a profit, and we try and keep those. The costs of your gym membership are the lowest you will find in Bath anyway. Our cafe and food is run at a small profit. Again, trying to keep those figures low, and we'll have, after Easter, a new menu, and we're also going to be doing free bring a bowl for a free meal nights on Wednesdays after Easter. The more challenging one, as you'll see, is bar. What we do know is that students are cutting back on kind of socialising, non-essential things, and that means that our bar sales are losing money and have been for a while, and we cannot continue to do that. So we are going to have to think differently about how we do that. And just to share with you where we spend money, you'll see that things like clubs and societies, money has increased how much we spend on there, how much we spend on things like the free kind of events and engagement activities that we do. We don't really spend a lot more on governance than we did, and that is mostly sabbatical officers' salaries. You will see the biggest leap there is in staffing costs. What I'd say is that we have doubled almost the number of staff we employ, and that is because of the number of student positions we're now able to offer in our events team, the creative agency, and we're really proud that we've become a Living Wage Foundation employer, so we are paying above the national average. So that is students directly benefiting from that. We ask the annual report and accounts, that takes you up to the 31st of July last year, so they almost feel like they're a year out of date already. But they were approved by the board on the 12th of December, presented to the university's finance committee, which they have to have a look at those. They're presented to you, so you can ask any questions, and after tonight they get sent to the charity commission for them to have a look at as well. So happy to take any questions on our accounts.
This section was filled with so much excitement.
That was thrilling. Thank you so much. Genuinely, really useful actually. Really interesting to know. And interesting for you guys to know, because we've had a lot of questions about the bar and the opening times, so there's a little bit of light shed on it for you guys. Yeah, any questions? Any questions on Menti?
Yeah.
Not yet, okay.
Wow.
That's fair, okay. Again, you can raise your hand if you have a question, or you can go to menti.com and ask anything your heart desires. I feel like we should have the Kahoot music on. Don't know it off the top of my head. Thank you. I'm here all night. Any questions? Right. I'll give it 30 more seconds and then we'll move on. Okay. I think we'll move on. Thank you so much for listening. And, huh? We have a question?
It's not really, it's not related to that.
Okay.
So maybe you have a bit at the end, like an answer.
Absolutely, we do. Yeah, there's definitely an answer all. AMA, ask me anything. Okay, so we'll move on then if we don't have any questions about the accounts. Okay. We'll move on to the approval of union affiliations. So these are all the bits and bobs that we sort of pay to be a member of, basically. They're services that are requested and used by students. So we've got our National Union of Students, the NUS, that we've been a member of at least since 2020, I think. And this year, yeah, it went up a little bit with cost of living stuff. And they've been doing a lot of like reforms and stuff within their organisation. So they're changing how things work to be more effective for the current student body, because NUS has been a thing for such a long time. Like, it's crazy how much work they've done in the history of student activism, basically. Really interesting stuff. Again, if you're a nerd like me, so go and have a look if you want to. We are also part of the British Universities and Colleges Sport, which is BUCs. It's the competitive organisation that sports societies and clubs can sort of compete in, basically, and compete against other universities and colleges through. We also are part of the Federation of Bath Residents Association. So this is like a board of residents in Bath. We talk about issues that people are facing in the community of Bath, from all age ranges, backgrounds, anything that needs to be spoken about, people can raise and talk about in those places. But yeah, we're working on getting more students into those spaces and making them more student-friendly, more young people-friendly. So yeah, we're working on that one. It's really, really formative work, I think, for sure. And then lastly, we're part of Advice UK, which is a really useful one. So those are our list of affiliations, and to be open about how much we pay for them and why. We'll be using Mentimeter to approve these affiliations, so we're going to need your help again. If you could go to menti.com and enter the same code 23550218 and vote on our affiliations. So how are we going to do this? Can we put them up one at a time?
Any questions? So if anyone has any,
Okay, we'll do questions first. Does anybody have any questions about these affiliations? I'm imagining the Kahoot music. Thank you. Okay, no questions in the room, no questions on Menti so far. If anybody wants any more time, if you pop your hand up, let me know. Okay, so we'll move on, I feel, to NUS.
it's if you approve the formation.
Oh, it's just all of them at the same time. Okay, word, absolutely. I need to click. Okay. Vote to approve, we remain affiliated with the National Union of Students.
It should work.
Okay, thank you. What does it say now?
Oh yeah, people voting.
Okay, thank you, nice one. So I apologise, I don't have it in front of me. Is this just for NUS?
So this is for
This is for all of them. Okay, word, yeah. If anybody has any questions about any of the affiliations individually, do let us know. But if you approve, then do go and vote. Thank you very much. Okay. Do we have some votes in?
yes. So far, all yes.
Oh yes, amazing. Thank you guys so much. Okay. I think we'll move on then, if people are all voted. Amazing. Stunning. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to the last part of this presentation, shaping the future of the Students' Union. So this is one that we're all really excited about, and we're really excited to share with students. So firstly, we want to talk about how you guys can be part of the decision making, just really quickly. You can check out our website, social media, to find out about the following opportunities. We've got a student governor position on the Board of Governors that is live now that you can sort of apply for. It means that you can sit with the Students' Union president on the Board of Governors, which is a university board. That's sort of like their board of trustees, where they make all of the strategic decision-making bits and bobs. So it's a really, really interesting space to be, and really useful to provide a student voice in that room full of volunteers that sort of shape the university and go off a lot of data gathered by the university to make these decisions. So yeah, go for that if you want to. And we also have 4 vacancies for union student trustees, so that for our students' union, we have 4 trustees that help us make all of our decisions. So that could be one of you guys next year. Yeah, they're opening up, and you'll start next academic year. So have a look at that if you want to. Also, our big SU survey is coming after Easter, and it asks the questions about what life is really like for you guys. It's such a useful one. Again, we use the data all the time, and it's just a really, really great one to sort of have your say in, and say, just speak the truth. Say what you need to say on that survey. And we use it, to make decisions. Said all that colloquially. Loads of bits and bobs. So next up is our representation and democratic review that I did mention earlier. We're currently looking at a whole new way to potentially organise things and represent you. Students, you guys, us, we're all time and cash poor. Is there a better way to gather your feedback and insight other than surveys and bits and bobs? So this is going to be sort of a thinking piece. We can definitely have a chat about it later. You can go away and sort of formulate some views and thoughts and chat to us, and we'll be very, very happy to hear. We'll also be opening consultation soon on this one, so have a look for those student consultations that we were talking about earlier. Can students really influence and change the SU and the university? If you feel that way, or if you don't feel that way, we'd love to know why and what we could do to make that better for you guys in any kind of way. And is there a better model that is low impact on student time but can deliver high impact for students? So it would be a lot less of a time drain for our current student volunteers and workers that sort of give their time to help us make decisions and shape how all of this looks, and how even this meeting looks, how it could be better engaged with, how it could be more accessible for students. Is there any way that we could do that? We're looking at a lot of it, and we're going to have a lot to come back with, but stay tuned for that. So we're almost there. We've had a lot of workshops and discussions with Counterculture, that organisation I talked about earlier, and it's been really, really useful, really interesting. We'll be coming up with ideas to share with you after the spring break. So let us know if you do want to know more. We'll be very happy to talk your ear off about it. Thinking about the SU building as well, it's been on people's minds and lips for really a long time now. So students are in extreme poverty and have no money to spend. The SU is making losses that we can't really afford to make, hence the changes that we've had to make recently. So if we can't run the SU building in the same way in the future, what changes would you like to see? So this is, again, going to be a thinker because it's a really big question. We've been looking at a lot of students' unions nationally and internationally for the best practice of a union and how it should run, and what you guys need to adapt those ideas to our community, if that makes sense. So it's just a really, really interesting one, a really exciting piece, because we've been a union since the 1980s, and having those big changes is it's just so exciting. I don't know. I'm very biased because, again, SU nerd. So final questions. There's a lot in that, And thank you guys so much for being so patient and such good listeners. Hope you enjoyed your ice cream. So do you have any questions about the Students' Union or today's all-student meeting? So this is going to be the Ask Us Anything panel. I'm going to move down here to be with my people. So again, you can raise your hand in the group, or you can go on Menti and ask us questions via that. Absolutely. We'll go to Amelia first, I feel.
It's kind of going back to the affiliation part. I know over the past year there's been some controversy with books in terms of their policies on transgender participation in sports. I was just kind of wondering, one, what's kind of the students' union perspective on that sort of thing, and then what kind of communications is it having with books to ensure the safety of athletes?
Thank you so much for that question. That's such a worthwhile thing to be speaking about. I'm going to give that to you, Elise, if you're comfortable, because Elise deals with books mostly.
Yeah, so to be honest, it's not something that's been, something that I'm very aware of around books within other SUs, and something that as staff members we've chatted about. So as well as working with various staff members of books, of course, we also have a student officer network. So that's all of just the sports related Sabbs, and we meet kind of every 2 to 3 months to talk about raising issues, something that's been raised there, and it is apparent that it's been brought to more officers' attention in different SUs. It is a tricky one, and it is definitely a complicated one. The stance that we kind of chatted about as Sabbs last year when it came up was there's more power, we believe, that there's more power with us staying affiliated with the organisation so that we can help change that culture from within, and we can do that through starting the conversations with the student officer network, that's what we've been trying to do. Instead of affiliating and kind of leaving them to kind of just carry on with what they're doing, it's kind of where is the power? Of course, we pay money to them, and so I understand that if everybody disaffiliated with books, that might make them rethink their stances on it, but that's not going to happen. Some of the universities who are huge for sport, they pay much higher fees than we do, and books could probably run on those big universities' fees alone. And so small institutions like ourselves pulling out might not have as much impact as us staying affiliated and trying to change that culture from within. But it's the first time that I've kind of had it raised to me from a student perspective, so thank you so much for bringing it today. And now that it has been, it's something I can definitely dedicate more of my time to and consult on. But that's kind of why we haven't done that so far, and it's just been something we've chatted about as Sabbs and within my student officer network. I hope that helps. It's a really complicated one, so I don't want to say more on it in this space, if that's okay.
Thank you. Really worthwhile conversation to be having. Locally, we'll always support trans and non-binary people and gender diverse communities, for sure. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Do we have one? Okay.
Someone says that they found the Expenditures network difficult to do. It was more of a statement.
Okay, so that one's on our student community networks. Did you say networks?
Yes.
Oh, commuters networks. I see. Okay, thank you. I'll let you take that one, Poppy, if that's okay.
First of all, to whoever else, I'm really, really sorry that you found it tricky to join. So all of our networks are listed on our website. It comes under clubs and socks, but then there's a section for networks. And all you need to do, as far as I'm trying to remember in my brain, you click join. It will say pay, I think, but it is free to join. You just click that, and then you will be automatically signed up to an email chain. So whenever there are commuter network events, you will be notified of that. there haven't been that many events, as many as I would have liked over the last few months, but that's something that I really want to work on. So maybe that's why you're not getting as many emails and stuff, but if you have any more, if you're still struggling to join the network itself, then please reach out to me, whether it be via Bar to Bar Sabbs on Instagram or my email. Please let me know and I can try and help in any way I can.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes they're really simple questions, but it's like, yeah, a larger issue. Oh my goodness gracious me. Calamity on stage. It's all good. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah?
It's about money issues.
Okay.
Could the SU offer small paid jobs that require little time /
Okay, so that's on the Students' Union offering more paid jobs that are like less of a time commitment? Yeah, I mean, we offer a lot of jobs already, to be fair. We have, we hired for our creative agency, which is a commitment, but as is any job. And they sort of help make a lot of our creative stuff. They help edit videos, make graphics, help with our website, with animations, loads of bits and bobs that are creative, and I really love their work, as I said earlier. We also have our events crew, who are like more extroverted, bubbly people who can help during events and like sort of get people involved, get people joining in with everything if they're uncomfortable or if they're on their own. Very happy to sort of join in and yeah, just chat a little bit, really. We have a lot of other student jobs, to be fair. It's something that you can have a look at on the website, I believe, our vacancies tab. Yeah, if anybody else has anything else to contribute, those are just a couple of examples. Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to say anything? Yeah, and they are really flexible as well. That's a really good point, Sarah. So those jobs you can work around your university studies and any other commitments that you have, because obviously you guys are students, we work for you, so we want you to be happy in the job that you're in. And we know that often like local jobs aren't as flexible as like the university or union jobs. But yeah, definitely have a look at the vacancies tab or come to us more like personally, and we can chat to you about like your options. Or you can also go to careers and see if there are any university or union jobs through them that you could talk about and that would suit you, if that makes sense. No, thank you. Yeah, just finish that one off.
Yeah, just if you have any feedback on the jobs that we currently offer or that the university offer, if you have any ideas of how we or they can expand, or if you have experience in the jobs that we offer that you'd like to feedback, you can always email me or all of us, and we can gain that kind of specific as to what you might mean by that.
Thank you, absolutely. So Elise, as a part of her opportunities role, does work a lot with careers and employability stuff. So yeah, always happy to hear what you guys have to say about anything, to be fair. It's just really nice to hear what you guys have to say. And thank you so much for your input so far. Do we have any other questions? I hope that helped, by the way. And do we have any other questions?
Yes.
Yes? Amazing, thank you.
Weirdly enough, I can answer it.
Oh, cool. Do you want the microphone?
Yeah, I'll come up. I guess I'll ask myself.
Special guest, Kieran.
So the question is, I wanted to ask about the SU website previously using trans students' legal names, their dead names, instead of their preferred ones, and if anything's done in the future.
Kieran, everybody.
Hello. So if anyone doesn't know, I'm Kieran, I'm the Communications Marketing Manager, so the website kind of sits under my area of responsibilities. So yes, there was an issue. So basically, we kind of signed a data sharing agreement with the university, so all of the student data that we use to kind of like build your profiles, we received from the university, and there was a mistake where basically the two systems weren't really talking to each other properly, and so it wasn't capturing kind of like the preferred names that the university was sending through. Thankfully, people with better knowledge of kind of data management looked at it, and that should all have been sorted now. So if there are still any issues, please do reach out to us. We do have a SU marketing email address, it's SU-marketing@buzzbar.ac.uk. No, SU-marketing. I get my symbols mixed up. Yes, so please do drop us an email if that's still an issue for you. Hopefully it shouldn't be. And there's also kind of like a preferred name option as well, so you can submit your own kind of preferred name option. But yeah, that shouldn't be a problem now.
Thank you, Karen. Special guest appearance. But in all seriousness, really, really sorry that that's happening, because I know how horrid that could be. It's something that shouldn't be happening, and we're really sorry that that happened through IT mishaps that I don't understand, but it's unacceptable. So yeah, if you have anything to say to us about that, or like if you have any other input, do let us know, as Kieran said, for sure. Thank you so much, Kieran. Okay, do you?
And we have done a bit of work with the university just on changing, improving their systems and their customer service when it comes to changing your name legally and both preferred names. There were some issues that we discovered through student feedback in that system, and we have liaised with them to kind of troubleshoot those, and hopefully it should be a lot easier now.
Fingers crossed, absolutely. And if anybody didn't know, in the room, there's a trans and non-binary support lead at the university called Georgie Egger. She is wonderful, and she can help you with any of these problems if you have them again. Yeah, for sure. Or reach out to us. Just reach out. Thank you. Do we have any more Menti? Okay, thank you. We'll just take Amelie's in the back then.
I was just wondering what kind of efforts the SU is putting into increase their awareness and their participation in Locksbrook, Sion Hill, and BSU London, perhaps rather than campuses, because I know a lot of the SU activities are kept primarily on Newton Park, and this year I've seen more at Locksbrook, but I don't know whether there's specific plans for planning to do for the other communities.
Absolutely. Really, really good questions. Really good questions, you guys. Cheers. So, yeah, absolutely. So that's student union sort of initiatives and visibility at all the different campuses and how to get those students included. So that would be Locksbrook, Sion Hill, and our BSU University London campus that we do have. This will be more of an Aaron question, so I'm going to pass it on.
I think this is something that we've struggled with since the dawn time. Yeah, it's been really quite difficult to best understand how to reach students in those different campuses, because we are a very small union and it's difficult. When we spread ourselves too thin with a more permanent space on each area, it's difficult to have oversight as to how that's working, and also it just further segregate all the students in the union itself, which we don't want to do. We want to kind of be more 100% inclusive, combined, collaborative with each other. So I think this is part of what counterculture is going to be looking at. They'll be reviewing how we stay visible and how we actually address those students and how those students work with us and how we work with them. I think there's something else on that. BSU London is like an even bigger situation, and that's yeah, all part of the counterculture review. But do you want to add something to that?
Thank you for that question. I just wanted to say that, so obviously our events team has expanded. Shout out Gabby and Kirsty, I start commenting. Sorry for embarrassing. So over the last year, Gabby has really tried to have more events at different campuses. So Locksbrook, myself, Leanne, and Kirsty, we went to Sion Hill last, I think it was Friday, wasn't it? Thank you. We did an ice cream wellbeing check-in with the students there, and they really appreciated that. But it's kind of that, we want to do more of that kind of stuff looking into the new year, the new academic year. But yeah, we're trying, and I think it would be, like Alan said, it'll be part of counterculture and seeing how we can do that effectively whilst not letting slip other things that we're really doing.
And from supporting activities on a student-led perspective, we're really trying to work with the university to allow like art societies, for example, who could really thrive in Locksbrook spaces, like rebuilding the ceramic society, which has come back up, which is great, but just really trying to work with the university to make sure they can use those spaces there, because that again is a gateway to the SU, and having like helping presence at Locksbrook, for example, it can be a tricky one, and it's definitely something where we have to be involved to talk to the university about. So it's just an example of some of the small wins that we can make there.
For sure. Thank you, guys. I want to say, is there anything you'd like to add on that one, Sarah? Because I know you work in partnerships a lot. Okay. But, like, do watch this space, because, yeah, definitely something we're very, very aware of. Yes, absolutely. Go for it. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Thank you.
We're part of the new Ceramic Society.
Oh, amazing.
And we've reached out a couple of times to try and sort any sort of space out. We haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
So we just wanted to check if we were reaching out to the right people.
Absolutely. So that's just a question about where to reach out to if you have questions as a society. So that would be SU-opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. So you should have, hopefully at some point, had some correspondence back about formulating the society. So the response that we've kind of had from the university at the moment is that they're happy to get you booked in for the next academic year, which is great for the next academic year, but what we're trying to push currently is to get you in there before then, before Easter, and that's where we're kind of having that back and forth. So wins to set you up for the next year, but what we're trying to do is obviously to just push that forward and get you in as soon as possible, and we are going back and forth with the room booking team currently and the head of course for like those spaces. So that's why we're hoping now to give you an update so fast, because we're still going back and forth with them. But yes, please just keep emailing extra opportunities if you know maybe a reply has been missed, and you can also reach out to me. I have a separate inbox, so PP opportunities if you have any issue with response times or you just want something clarified. But we're working on this case for sure.
Thank you. Very succinct. Cheers. Does that answer your question okay?
Yeah, that was really helpful.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to see the society back up, so thank you for restarting that one. Okay, any more for any more? Yeah, one more on Nancy?
Yeah, this question was about rooms in Commons being unavailable to book after 4 p.m. on a Sunday. This wasn't a problem previously, but has become one semester, unsure if this is something you can control.
Okay. Thank you. So that one's on room bookings in Commons.
Sunday after 4 p.m.
On Sundays after 4 p.m. being unable to book a room in Commons. Yeah, I mean, we can always speak to the university about this. Like, so the Students' Union is separate to the university, so we don't have control over like their bookings or their rooms or their buildings. But I think we have tried to reach out. And do you want to come in on that at all? No, that's very fair. Understandable.
Yeah, we have spoken to the university because the bookings for like Sundays and Mondays. Currently they're unwilling to have more spaces open.
Thank you.
I can argue against that.
Thank you so much, Verity. Okay, so we've had some correspondence and an answer on that one. So the university is currently unwilling to open their spaces on Sundays after 4 p.m. because they alarm their buildings and they don't want to like staff it, I guess. But we can definitely argue against that because you should be able to use the spaces that you're paying for, basically.
It's something that we kind of, it's something that we do continuously at varying points in varying meetings raise, because it comes into access and participation about warm spaces as well, and about having spaces to study. There's definitely, it's like, for example, how Commons closes at midnight. We know that's a big touch point. We've seen your complaints on Uni2. We do raise them to people higher up in the university. We have in the past provided some statistics from Wonky, who are people who are very knowledgeable about higher education, and they did a study that showed that I think it's 25% of students study after 10 p.m, between 10 and 4 a.m. We have provided those statistics to those people in the university, so it is very upsetting to see that they are actually reducing those hours. But we will carry on fighting. Again, like Jess said, like we are separate, so it's not something that we have any control over. Hopefully you've also gained some insights to why we've had to reduce our hours. The university is very separate and operates differently, so we will keep fighting, and we're very sorry to hear that.
Absolutely, well said, thank you. And yeah, sorry that that's happening and affecting you. We're all tangled up. Any more questions on Mentor?
Yes, another question.
Amazing.
Another one I like answer.
Okay.
So earlier this year, I made some event posters for SU events and AI graphics. Could this be an opportunity for students to volunteer their own artistic skills instead of
Okay, yes, please, come up. So this question's about use of AI in art projects and graphics and stuff? For events posters.
So I'm not currently aware of any kind of posters produced by kind of our central team that use AI. Like we kind of tend to use Canva, like Adobe, the Adobe software to create our printed materials. And to the best of my knowledge, we don't use kind of AI generated content. Whether we've kind of unknowingly used one of the images from those platforms and that has been AI generated and we just kind of not noticed. I can only kind of apologise for that and put my hands up, but yeah, to the best of my knowledge, I don't believe we use any. And we do actually have, as that's been mentioned, the creative agency, so these are all kind of part-time students, and they've made posters for our mini-con event, to have out Amelia with the promotion of that. So that was very much kind of student-generated content. It is a requirement as well for the SU logo to be on posters for all clubs and society events. So it may be that the posters you saw may have been created by some students. Again, we don't know for sure whether that was created with AI or not. It may have been unknowingly created with the use of AI, but yeah, I can confidently say that none of kind of like the content created essentially by our team is used with AI. And yeah, we are kind of trying to get better to use the creative agency more, and definitely one of my aims and targets is to kind of have more student-generated content on our platforms.
Brilliant, thank you so much, Kieran, that's really useful. So, yeah, definitely, we encourage students to make their own stuff and like use it for all of our posters and campaigns and stuff. I'm also aware that there was a post on Unity about the poster fair having AI posters. We're not affiliated with them. We just sort of partnered with them for that event. And yeah, again, we can apologise for their use of AI, but yeah, we'll try and keep good tabs on it. And I think maybe we should chat to our clubs and societies about using AI in their promotional pieces and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to jump in on the club and society aspect, I guess, we did some work. Obviously, we partnered with Adobe and Adobe Express, and they have done some workshops with clubs and societies on how to effectively use their platform and to use that software. An element of that software is AI-generated content. Thinking about efficiency, not all students who run club societies are experts in graphic or marketing, and they are time poor, so I suppose through that partnership with Adobe, that kind of opportunity has been presented to them through making the most of our Adobe Express content. But we can spread some of the impact and the alternatives. I suppose we're an Adobe Creative Campus, so it's about finding that relationship between creativity and utilising all of the features of the program. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, like Kieran said, anything that kind of comes from us, we won't do that, but we respect the students' choices. We respect that they're time poor and they don't get paid to run clubs and societies, so they might have more time constraints than our team. We are able to make a commitment to not using AI, but it's much harder to police that onto us, and it would be a much wider topic of debate as to whether we should do that, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure, thank you so much. It's definitely one we can have, so we can open that one up. Thank you. Yeah, I hope that helps. Any more? Yeah, I think we'll take Rowan first and then Amelia, if that's okay. Thank you.
I'm curious, like, I want to know, like, what are you being most proud of, like, you've done over the past year?
That's so sweet. So what are each of us the most proud of that we've done in the last year? Thank you, Rowan. That's a really nice question. Mine is the Gender Expression Fund. I'm so proud of that, and I'm really happy that we can help like a community that I'm part of be able to afford the essentials, basically. It just makes my heart warm.
I think mine would be the student community leaders. We have such a fantastic group of leaders in our schools, and I've become more and more aware of how lacking of information the academics have and the university have in regards to the student experience. And student community leaders have been absolutely fantastic at delivering that experience to them and explaining how things are for students. And I couldn't be more proud.
My proudest thing that we do here that kind of covers my role and that I'm really proud to have been a part of is our free clubs and societies and our participation fund. I think we're really like spearheading that in the sector, and it just makes me really proud, like every day.
Such a lovely question, thank you so much. For me, I wouldn't say one specific project or campaign I've done. I think for me the proudest thing, and the thing that warms my heart the most, is that when I walk down to Main House or Commons or whatever, I always get stopped by people who know me or chat to me. So I feel like I'm quite proud of myself for how visible I've tried to be this year. I've tried to just be there for students if they want to chat, if they, I don't know, just want someone to chat to, or just passing a smile or something. I think that's been something that's really warmed my heart, and it's it's really nice to connect with students and be at events and chat and talk for days. So I'll probably say the visibility aspect. But thank you.
Sarah's proud of us. Thank you. Thank you. It's a really lovely question. I think we'll take one from Amelia, and then we may have to wrap up unless we have any more mentee ones. Okay? Thank you.
One thing that over the past few years I've experienced as a society member, as well as what I've heard from other societies, is that there's not a load of communication on like Tony Cross fundraisers, what the total is, and whether the money is actually donated. So like for cosplay, for example, we've done a bunch of different fundraisers for charities, but I mean, not really have communication despite kind of running the SU for like the information of total was raised and the charity actually got us, then we feel guilty to then post that we actually raised money to the charity because we don't have confirmation whether we actually did. So I was wondering whether there's much being done to change that like communication with society.
Thank you. I will pass that one over to Elise. So that's on fundraising and communicating, like how much money you've made for the society, for the charity that you're fundraising for as a part of the society. I'll pass that one on to you if that's okay.
It's definitely something that we are aware of. Absolutely, we are actively trying to improve it. I just wanted to say that it's a concern that I absolutely hear, and I'm going to pass it to Sarah if that's okay.
From a legal and technical side, every penny that's raised by a society does get paid out, and that gets independently audited by our auditors. The issue has been that you've not had the information in time. So one of the things that Gail has done is just changed. We've brought in new payment machines, so you'll be able to see on the night or on the day or at the event, the end of the event, what you've raised. And then once that's been audited through us, we're able to then pay that out for you really quickly. So it's a much easier process because technically we've just changed the payment provider in that way. So it shouldn't be a continuing issue.
So useful, thank you, and really good questions, absolutely. Okay,
I'm sorry.
we'll go
so
for one more,
quick question.
absolutely.
I just wondered if you have a neurodiversity support lead at the university.
Absolutely. Okay, so is there a neurodiversity support lead at the university?
Yeah.
That's a really good question, absolutely. Do you want to take that one, Poppy?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's not one neurodiversity lead that I'm aware of, but it would be under student wellbeing services. I know that if you go onto the my wellbeing, there will be signposts there. We also have our Disabled Students Network for all students who identify as having a disability to come and have events and things like that. But in terms of one neurodiverse lead, no. But if that's something you... Yeah. So I would, as I said, I would represent on that from a student perspective. But if you ever want to reach out and have more conversation, if that's something that you would like to see, then that's definitely something that I can talk with student wellbeing more on and see if we can get something done, I suppose.
I just want to emphasise that the university are very neurodivergent conscious, and they are making efforts into improving how they support neurodivergent students. So having a lead might be something that they'd be looking into. But if you had anything you wanted to add to that, that would be very welcome for us.
Thank you so much.
For sure, absolutely. Great question. Absolutely. I think we'll call it there. Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. I'm sure we've got a thank you soon. Thank you so much for coming and listening to us talk for almost 2 hours and giving us your questions. I hope this has been able to shed some light on how the Students' Union is run. And again, if you ever have anything that you want to say to us, you can come and chat. We're always here. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Hope you got your free ice cream. See you soon. Cheers. There we are. Let's stick the music back on.